Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, bearer of the light. Thank you for joining us again in this holy light circle, the light circle of infinite light, and where we focus on what's true and then ask Jesus to show us so clearly where we're investing in the idea of the untrue. And it seems like the theme for tonight is choice. To extend that the exploration in the light of divine being, choice and perception. The perception arises out of choice, the desire to choose, to perceive as though there's something to choose between. Yet when we start with the light of divine being, infinite love, does infinite love know what a choice is? In our direct experience, can we find a choice in there? Is it making a decision? Decisions are to decide between. So again, that one decision can be better than another decision. Choose between, there's two. Does the light decide anything? If it's everything, and everything is one, what is the light? How can there be a decision to make? In the light of divine being and honesty of God, is decision possible? Does decisions actually ever occur when we look as the light of divine beings? Yet we seem somehow does it seem that we're making decisions all the time? What time we get up, what time we go to sleep. Are we really deciding anything? Let's ask the light of divine being. At the time we wake up, is that a decision that actually happens? Let's ask the light. What time we leave for work, is that a decision? In the light of divine being, does that decision actually exist? Can we find it? What time we eat today, is that a decision? Is the light agreeing with us that there are any decisions to make? Because if you have one decision, then there has to be a different option. Decision is the idea that there's options to choose between, but does the light choose anything? Is it making a decision, a better decision? So Jesus turns choice around to choose again. Choose for divine light until we see there's only divine light. Cease to choose to invest in a personal identity, choosing an investment in choosing. That there's someone here to choose. Who's choosing? In the light of divine being, who's choosing? So if we look deeply as light, can we find a chooser? Is there someone in the light of divine being? Can we find a little body, a little person in there that chooses yes or no? So we're so used to choosing, Jesus gives us a new function. Choose for God. Choose to follow truth. Infinite light, the voice for God. Choose for it rather against it. Until we can see that choice is choosing against our divine light. We can ask in the light of divine being, is choice choosing against ourselves? And hear what the light says. is the idea of choice made to try to have an experience of choosing against ourselves? We can ask the divine light this: is choice in the dream of separation? And hear what the light says. So in the borderland, Jesus says choice may be here for a while. Does it make choice real? It's a play in consciousness. It's a play. It's impossible to choose. Yet we're choosing for eternal life, for what's eternal. Because we cease, that's the means to cease to choose against our divine nature, choose death as experience. So there's an idea that there are no choices. There aren't any choices in infinite light. Infinite light doesn't know what a choice is. Yet in the play of consciousness, we have to understand choice extremely well. How choice is a decision to deny. Again, the recognition of the miscreation. The miscreation of the idea of being separate from the Father through choice, through diversity. There's all this diversity, and then I can just pick one thing different from another, one thing better than another. That's judgment. As soon as we judge something, we're judging against ourselves. We created two. This creation of the experience of two. Jesus, will you show me a desire below my level of awareness for choice? I'm willing to see it. To an experience of choice. Show me where in the subconscious mind I'm choosing choice. Even though it's not possible. Like we can see in the light of divine being, who's choosing? No one to choose. Yet in consciousness, we have to learn to choose for ourselves. We have to choose wholeness because we've been choosing against it. Some would say, oh, there's no choice. There's nothing happening. Whatever's happening is happening. Let me ask Jesus about that. No. He says the desire for choice, those subconscious desires below the level of awareness, is populating everything that's appearing in form. Everything that appears in form, of course, he says that is a reflection of the subconscious beliefs and desires. And if there is a desire, that's a choice. Desire is a choice to experience something other than infinite light. We can ask in the infinite light, is desire a choice? And hear the answer. That's why we're looking so closely at those subconscious desires, because we can't even see where we're making choices. We buried it so deep. We can't see where we're choosing for experience of separation, for all the choices to experience hell, to play in hell. And then toss it out onto a timeline so that we can't see how really painful that is. Until now, till we're looking so directly and seeing choice isn't even possible in the divine light. Divine light doesn't know what choice is. A choice for a beginning and a choice for an end. A choice for birth, a choice for death. A choice that there be other. A choice to suffer. That's what we don't see. That's the choice. Choice is suffering. It's like automatic. Bing. That's why he's heading us toward choiceless awareness. Infinite light. Knows not choice. That's full peace of mind, unity with the absolute reality. we can see, we have glimpses as light beings that light is here. And that our only function is forgiveness, to see in the light of divine being where the denials, where's choice being made? Because choice is perception. They're married. Is an investment that perception true? Because notice how perception's always perceiving of something. So that's a choice. So there's a diversity in consciousness. And as we sit here, wherever you're sitting, and notice how consciousness plays. Consciousness will notice certain pictures above another picture. It'll see the liking of this versus that. It's always a versus. I'm going to arrange my couch so that this is over here and this is over there, relatively speaking. And if somebody comes in and moves something in my room, not going to be happy about it. So we become involved in the movement and setting up. Now, if it's in your function, if there's a function given for Jesus where he's using any kind of function, even decorating a room, in service to light, it's function. Yet we're still following to see where we're trapped by that little item that we're walking down the street and we just have to have it. And then our whole day's ruined if we don't. It's the choice to be unhappy. Because does the light make any choices around unhappiness? We look at light. Can we look in there and go, okay, it's hunting around for a fight or unhappiness? It just is. David Hoffmeister would call it moving the chairs or the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's what we're doing, moving objects around and going, my day's going to be ruined if this isn't perfect. We're setting ourselves up. And the other way consciousness plays to we set ourselves up because let's just take a vacation, for example. Notice how this plays, because we've seen this. So it's an out picturing of what the vacation is going to be like. We're going to get here 8 a.m. and then we're going to the beach. And of course, then you're going to go with a spouse or a friend who's not going to want to get up early. See, we create a picture, an out picturing. See that choice? It goes bing, bing. So it creates a future. Dun, 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 dun. And then when it tries to create a future and then gets all, and that's the desired experience. When all along we wanted to go on vacation, we wanted to have that experience of getting mad and stay in the distraction of that out picturing of what the vacation is going to be like and make it relative to the last time we went to that nice white pristine beach. And don't you know, at this time, that oil spill is we're looking for that specific consciousness, looking for that specific thing, the beach to be white and pure and pristine and the sun to come out and, set the temperature for 98 exact degrees. So when you tuck your toes in, and to see all the places in the play of consciousness where there's a decision to deny. When the out picturing doesn't match what seems to be occurring in form, but we set ourselves up for that through choice. We can ask the divine light. Is that how we set ourselves up? Rather than seeing that the most valuable thing that's sitting on that beach is light. And that infinite light and that infinite peace is here now. That any time we have ever gone to the beach and tucked our toes in sand, the most warm, perfect, toasty sand, and how does that compare to infinite light? That if we go, well, I still like sand. It's not like we're not going to feel sand anymore. Is just see where, it's like, what do you mean, Jesus? There's not going to be sand that I can tuck my toes in heaven. Because the out picturing of what heaven's supposed to look like, right? We already got a plan. Here's my future. I'm going to sit in heaven and Jesus is going to bring me those margaritas with a little umbrella. Even have heaven out pictured. This is all. Must be needing to see this because Jesus bring this into consciousness to look at any kind of remaining out picturing of what heaven's like. We love the play in consciousness, we really do. It's an addiction, isn't it? Yes, it is. Making up little stories. We're so powerful. Little stories so we can have experiences of disappointment. And it's like the lottery. It's so interesting. These things inform the lottery, you know. I'm going to win the lottery, so I'm going to buy that ticket. And that's what we're doing. We go out. That's what the ego does. And it says, okay, now I'm going to buy a ticket for this vacation because I just know I'm going to be happy with it. You know, like we're betting on a future. It's like horse racing. Like I can win this. I just know that I can win it. I can retire when I'm 95 or 80, 65. And I'm going to be completely rested and happy. Is the light saying? Is the infinite light looking for a vacation? It's really good to see this because of that addiction. And particularly in the beginning, we first see that light and recognize, oh yeah, it's here. We might have seen it when we were little. Little kids recognize it, like my niece, she saw it like the speed of lightning. We recognize it, but it's so easily put aside as though it's nothing when it's everything. And it gets kind of dumped quickly for that next phase. That's why it takes really attentiveness. It's faith in ourselves, really, that we're more worthy. We're more worthy. We're more worthy. Light is the most valuable, and that's why we look, is light in truth and honesty of God the most valuable thing? It's not a possession. Can it be possessed? And appreciate that and honor that light and honor following that light, knowing that we're worthy, that no vacation, no trip to the Bahamas, the beaches, hold a candle to this infinite light. Because that's the trick. The trick is the next sunny beach location, vacation. I remember that Master Jesus and Purpose. Yes, that's it. Went on vacation in Hawaii with my sister and lived in Hawaii. And so we'd go lie on the beach and I'd go, oh my God, this is the most gorgeous this is so fantastic. And about 5 minutes later, she'd go, okay, time to go to the next beach. And I go to the next beach and this is the best beach. Oh my gosh, I love this beach. So great. Next beach, you know, she'd keep me moving. That's the play of consciousness. Don't get too comfortable on the beach, or if you go to the beach, remember who's on the light, that there's nobody on that beach to make a decision. That's the vacation. The vacation is vacation from all decisions. Permanent. Hang up the decision on, you know, the keychain when you walk in your house, just hang the decisions up. We're done. We're done with all decision making. Jesus, in the light of divine being, will you show me below my level of awareness the desire to make decisions? to split myself into 1,000 pieces through decision making. That's what not following the light is, actually. Because the light doesn't get fooled by decisions and the myriad of sparkly Twinkies around. It's not fooled by that. The voice isn't fooled. The voice knows there's no decision to be made. It just knows that expression of infinite being, which is beyond decision making, is the light of infinite being, an expression of divine being beyond decisions. And think throughout our lifetime, we looked at this before, it's good to look again at the decisions and how exhausting that is. Should I do this or that? So much easier to go, Jesus, do I need to think about? No. Okay. Don't need to think about it. What about no? What about no? Do I need to do that? No. That was a surprise, you know, because there's this idea that the spirit was going to, I don't know, add extra things to do in there and actually end up doing a lot less in a lot of ways. I don't know what your experience is. Experience here is just surprise because through the Course in Miracles, I started to see those, mentioned this before, they call them body jobs. And I never questioned the things that the body was doing before. You know, and I could see it because, again, you're sitting there in the garden, being a gardener, and you have to move that leaf and clip that bush. You ever find yourself, you just kind of moving into it, you're just doing all this stuff. You know, the body's like moving around like a puppet on the ego strings, just doing whatever stuff that doesn't need to happen. They're just the habit of distraction. That's why when I go in the garden, I ask them, what do I need to do? Because I can see it go in there. It's good mind training in that garden. Am I potting plants today? No. Okay. You know, check in with the one who knows. Because otherwise we're lost in the asteroid belt. Asteroid. And then all of a sudden we're really hurting. It's like, why am I hurting so much? Because I wasn't really listening to the light, because the light is here to help us reduce the amount of pain. We can ask, is the light of divine being here to help us reduce the level of pain that we experience? Salvation is to save us from the idea that pain exists. Oh yeah, and Jesus, this is for me too, reminded me how he told me, reminded me that pain is choice. Pain in the body is choice. We'll ask, in the light of divine being, infinite honesty of God, is pain choice? Is the dream of separation choice in the light of divine being? In our direct experience, we can see it. So instead of perceiving wholly, we perceive in fragments. And then we really grasp to hold on to objects as our saviors. Is this object? I'm going to have a nice little house. I'm going to be safe in this house. I'm going to, you know, we create all kinds of little plans for safety using objects when we're the one who are creating the, ask the light. Are we powerful enough to create these objects? Miscreate them. They're not real creations, but they feel real enough. Are we powerful enough to do this as divine beings? And hear the light's answer. But not as powerful as we really are. Does this come close to our true power as divine beings? Even this whole universe and all the diversity, and populate it with a bunch of bodies, and they're all moving, and there are birds flying and flowers blooming, and the birds are tweeting. Even though we express that, we're the same as that which expresses that. Is that still, are we still more powerful than all of that? And ask the light. does divine light say, yep, you're less powerful than the whole world? Divine light doesn't say that because it's not true. We're infinite. One. We're one. One big, powerful, infinite light being. In total, given all the power, do we still have every bit of power we can ask in the light of divine being invested in us by God the Father? Can we find in the light anywhere where God's going, I'm cutting back on you? You've been bad today. I'm going to turn the light, the infinite power of light. I'm going to crank that down for you. That's what we believe about the light. It's funny. We have to laugh at it because that's really what we believe God's doing. You know, God, you're giving me nothing. You're holding back from me, Dad. So we have to look with the light of divine being and see what's true. Nothing is held back in light. So we're holding ourselves back from light and going, I don't want, and I'm laughing because I can laugh because I said this. I don't want to go in there. Don't make me. I could feel myself. I felt like my fingernails were just going to hang on the end and not let go. And then it's like suddenly you go, wait a minute. The light's already here, regardless if I hold my fingernails really tight. You go, oh, that's a little ridiculous. But it happens. It's like, I just remember, I don't want to go. You know, we have to really appreciate this because this is what shows up. That's what we have to, we support each other in this because all kinds of things are going to show up because consciousness is a manufacturer of all kinds of things. That's why awakening never looks the same in any one being because we want it to look different. That's part of the play is to have the desire, and Jesus says this in the Course, the desire for an experience different from everybody else. The specialness, even in waking up, there's specialness. I can't get. I never thought about it that way. Is that true? Yep. But there is one thing we can agree on, and it's the only thing on the planet, beyond the planet, that can't be agreed on. See, light. And yet no one can talk about it, really. Can we talk about light? Can we describe light? It's revelation. It can only be recognized. So the most important thing on the planet, and you can't really even write a book about it, really. That's why Jesus doesn't go in and say, okay, I can't teach you about love, because that is what you are. But I can show you what he's doing in spades. All the denials that love is here now. Direct experience. So we can see, he couldn't write a book and say, okay, let me give you a coaching lesson on what infinite light is like, which you already are, infinite light. So now we have however many pages, 600 pages of, now let's look at all the ways in which we're making the choice to say no to that light. Okay, Jesus, so show me any decision I've made today that denies the light. I'm willing to see it. He goes, are you in perfect peace? Was there the slightest twinge today? Slightest twinge. Then we just go, okay, Jesus, show me below that twinge. Now we can be funny about it, actually. This is humorous because it's love, love's gentle and humorous, right? And loves us. Now love us to keep showing us where we're kind of goofing off unconsciously. Show me the desire, the choice below my level of awareness that I'm hiding from myself. See, we're hiding that choice down there below our level of awareness. So we need that Jesus to go in and get it for us. Put it right here. Okay, so show me. Is there anything I need to see? Where am I choosing? Where am I choosing pain? Fatigue. Fatigue is choice. It's the mind working, trying to work it out in choice. It's very interesting when you start sitting in silence a lot. And we've talked about this here too. You just feel yourself, like we go to Muji satsang. I've talked about it before. It's like, oh, I got to take a nap. Muji goes, yeah, there are a lot of beings that get very excellent at just being able to sleep straight off sitting in satsang. Because we want to avoid, the ego wants to avoid it. That's the best time to ask for help. This feels important. Ask Jesus. That's a good question to ask. Jesus, is it most helpful for me to sleep right now? I'm just asking him. In most cases, he's going to say no, yes. We start to. Most cases, he'll say not a good time to sleep. And maybe it's something valuable to see that we don't want to see. That's fatigue. Fatigue's the opportunity to see that there's something in the mind. There's some kind of mind activity. The desire for the experience, fatigue, to mask over light. He says miracles are energizing. That's a good thing to remember. Thanks for reminding me. You get much more energized with miracle performing because your divine expression, it's no longer squished down into all these ideas and concepts. They're exhausting. Let's just ask the light. Are ideas and concepts, living in a conceptual world, exhausting? Is all exhaustion coming from choice, the idea of choice? And sometimes we need to see how fatiguing choice really is. Because does the divine light ever get tired? Can we find fatigue in divine light? And it's not making any effort at all and blowing out a whole world like this. No effort. Bing. All the bolts and the rivets and the holding together the skyscrapers, all being just blown out into a dream effortlessly. Meanwhile, and all this is happening, notice this, all this is happening simultaneously and inside our mind going, God, I'm having a bad day, but yet it's still happening. That's how powerful we are. Well, it's true. That was for me, for sure. They're all for me. All this spectacular diversity, and consciousness is that heat-seeking missile is going to look around. Okay, let me find something. Doesn't work for me. Out of all it's created, too. That's what's hilarious. Created a universe, diversity. You walk into a room and man, it's going to find that dust, that little piece of dust that hasn't been vacuumed. Neat, just watch it and hone in. But now we start to catch it because we can see the miscreation in that. Now I just ask Jesus, got to pick up that dust? No. Okay. It becomes so easy. Let that go. And then he teaches us, okay, I'm going to give you what you need to be thinking about right here, right now. And I love that. I've talked about it before from the movie After Earth, where, you know, he's got to cross this part of a planet because they crashed, and he's got to go, quote unquote, save his father. And there's a boogeyman. The boogeyman, black insect, looks like a spider, not sure what it is, black thing that each kills you somehow. And he's like 14, so he's got to go on this journey by himself. But the amazing thing about it in this movie is his father taught him, take a knee. And that is so helpful. That there's nothing, there are two things that are not, that there's nothing more important than these. I'm just getting it right. Yeah. Take a knee. When that, you know, you're starting to feel tired or mind's going, we just pause and remember the light is here. Is the light still here despite whatever this churning that's happening? Is the light still here? That's to join in a moment of light with Jesus. That's what he means. Let us join in a moment of light. That's how powerful one thought of joining with Jesus, and the reminder, join with a brother. When you're in mind spin, okay, let's go see what's true. Call them up. Have your calling buddy. These mini light circles. And anybody can do a light circle. It doesn't have to be like this light circle. I just wrote up the instructions for light circles where that a long time ago, like several years ago, Jesus showed me where you just join with someone and you focus on light together and you put all your thoughts, feelings, and emotions in the light, and they just go on, just like we're doing here, but, you know, just a little simpler method. I talked about showing my niece, who is 7, to put things in the light together. And she goes, and I asked her and what happened, and she says it melts trouble. So I've written those up in kind of a generic format so that anybody can use it, because light is for anyone. Is there anyone on this planet that doesn't, who isn't a light being? Can we find one being on this planet that isn't a being of light? You know, it's like where Jesus is going, okay, in this category over here, we have the light beings, and over everything's light. We're all light. And so we can, if you're guided by Jesus, I was guided to go back and rewrite this thing because he'd shown me this, the joining in light symbol. And I just put it out there for a PDF to how to have a light circle. So you can have a light circle with whoever's there who's having an upset. We don't have to speak. We'll just sit here. We'll put it in the light. It's for everyone because we're all light beings. He says words are not necessary for healing. He says that in the Course in Miracles. It's really the willingness and to love ourselves enough and know that he loves us enough that he would not want us to suffer longer than, you know, immediate. That we're worthy of immediate correction. Immediately looking with the light, immediately joining with Jesus in the mind, immediately joining in mind with a brother. Oh, I'm making a choice here. I'm believing a perception. I just miscreated a perception of myself. Time to join. Ding, ding, ding. Time for a mini light circle, take a knee. And that's what we are here for each other. To see that we don't have to live with error. It's a choice. That's the choice. The choice is we're choosing to live, or like Jesus was reminding me, you're choosing to tolerate your choices that it's tolerate your choices, that you're making choices, and that when you know they're not real, we can see in the divine light, choice is not real. The only way we can be happy is without choice. Let's ask that at the divine being. Without the idea of choice, is that happiness? And hear what the light says. That's true happiness, because the divine being is one. Nothing to choose between. is, we can see the divine light is not generating things to choose between. It's one. Jesus, I give over to you any desire below my level of awareness for choice. He says this is a direct path to heaven, because it all is based on choice. That's why it's called choiceless awareness. He's reminding me. Of course, I guess I can't hear that enough. It's choiceless awareness because there's no choice. And two, it's awareness, which we have no choice but to be awareness. There isn't a choice. Is there a choice to be a divine being in the light of God? Is there a choice that we have not to be divine? There's no choice to be divine. And if we're divine and there is no choice as a divine being, what are we doing choosing? Anything. Is it worth one more day, one more hour, one more minute making a choice? So Jesus is calling us out of choice. Judgments are choices, right? Choice to deny. Judgment is to have to. Look how free. Having no choice. Let Jesus show us right now, what's life like without a single choice? What's like life like? It's like there's time when you can't even imagine not having to make a choice. You'd see how peaceful that is. Jesus, will you show me any belief that choice is necessary? Do I have any beliefs that choice is necessary? And the desire to experience choice is necessary. Is there any desire in there? I'm willing to see that in the light of divine being. Salvation depends on it. Seeing through that belief that choice has value. That's a good one to marinate on. The desire for choice, to deny divinity. Amen.